it's something else to watch them just do what they want. They're not worried about putting up a ton of points. If they were, I think they would. They're methodical. They take shots when they need to. Lane Kiffin is calling a good game. It's pretty impressive. It really is. And speaking of Lane Kiffin, let's get some of this coaching talk out of the way. Lane Kiffin connected Ed Orgeron apparently as the new LSU head coach. Congratulations to him. As LSU couldn't get either one of their top two guys, so they go to their third choice, which is a little surprising. But Ed Orgeron, he worked with Lane Kiffin at USC. It's reported that he might be considering trying to get Lane Kiffin to leave Alabama to join him at LSU. That would be a huge story. But congratulations to LSU and Ed Orgeron. Let's see how they move things forward down there. Other coaching news. Charlie Strong also was officially released of his duties at Texas, and they hired Ed Herman away from Houston, making him look like a hypocrite, obviously, because the night of Houston's last game, he said that all the stories were false. And there were stories about him connected to Texas and stories about him connected to LSU. They both turned out to be true. He didn't handle answering that question very good because it makes him look foolish, in my opinion. But congratulations to him getting to go back to where he basically started out there at the University of Texas. That will also help the University of Texas, I think, as he was able to really keep what was going there at Houston with their offense and their high-flying scoring. So he knows the area. He knows the university. I think he'll do well down there. Just too bad he had to kind of look like a fool with the way he was presented with those questions instead of questions about the game. Clemson goes out. They have South Carolina. That's a big rivalry game. That's their in-state rivalry. You know, they got to do what they're doing. They put it on them. They're trying to stay in the top four, 56-7. Moving on to the ACC title game next week. Wisconsin, they go down early to Minnesota. That game looked like it was going to be a tough one for them. And really, they kind of dominated in the second half as they come back and win 31-17 over a Minnesota Gophers team that really, you know, kind of overachieved this season at 8-4, I think. But Wisconsin moves on to the title game. They will face the Penn State Nittany Lions as they handled Michigan State yesterday 45-12 behind just big play after big play. Congratulations to the Big Ten as they are showing up huge late here in the season with some of the wins they have. Big game here locally. This is a game I must say I'm excited to watch. If you want to label me a bandwagon fan, okay, I'm a bandwagon fan. I like it when CU plays well. Do I pay attention to a lot of their games when they're not playing well? No, I don't. But when they're playing well, I do like to see that. I like to see the excitement of those students. I like to see the student section going crazy. I like to see exciting wins where their fans get to come out on the field. I like to feel that something locally is going good with the programs here. And to know, I guess, that I have the ability to go buy a ticket to go see a quality college football team. For years, I got to see CU games and Air Force games because of my grandfather. He had season tickets. And I saw some quality teams. I saw some really good teams. And I saw some teams that it's just like, why did we come to these games? So I don't have any official connection to the university. If I did, I'd be supportive all the time. But I like to see CU do well. I have since I was probably 8 years old when I went to my first CU Nebraska game with my grandfather. So CU, hey, Pac-12 South champions. Can you guys believe it? Just in a few short years, they have gone from basically the trash of the division to turning around 8-1 in the division this year. Pac-12 South champions, going on to play Washington. And this is what I laid out as I was talking to my circle just a couple weeks ago. I said, this is what needs to happen for CU to have a chance at the college football playoff. And so far, it's lining up pretty good. I was like, Ohio State, Michigan. Michigan needs to be knocked off, so they're out of it. We can't have both of those teams up there. And then as far as the Pac-12 goes, Colorado needed to win out. They needed Washington to beat Washington State so that they could face Washington. A win over Washington would give them top 25 wins over Stanford, Washington State. There's one more. Utah, who they just beat yesterday 27-22. So 4 top 25 wins. Washington would be a top 5 win. That's a pretty good resume. You win out, you win the Pac-12 championship. You have those quality wins to be like, okay, maybe they need to be that 4th team. I don't think they can get higher than 4. But if that falls into place, if Virginia Tech somehow, which we'll talk about here in a minute, surprises Clemson next week, maybe CU gets in. They're playing some good football right now. When they're on a roll, it's impressive. Sometimes they get into play calling funks that it's just like, what's going on? The defense is definitely the strength of that team. It's very impressive. So good quality win for the Buffs. Congratulations, Colorado Buff fans. I'll just say I'm a supporter instead of a fan because I like seeing them do good. Louisville, they drop again to Kentucky. Another bad win at the end of the season. Lamar Jackson still possibly going to be the Heisman Trophy winner. Great individual stats for him. But boy, did teams figure out what to do against them. And if you had the speed, you could do it. As Kentucky beats them in that rivalry matchup, 41-38 as time expires on a field goal. USC goes out and does USC, trouncing the Irish 45-27. And that lineman for the Irish who wants to stomp on people and kick people in the head, you done. If I was your coach, if I was your university, not only you're off my team, your scholarship's pulled, and I'm kicking you out. That's not what athletics is about. If you're that poor of a sport, get out of here. We don't need you. Go find some other form of life, some other thing that you want to do, and do that, because clearly you're not slated to be on a field with this physical nature if you can't handle yourself. So, young man, I hope you get another chance, really, but if it were me, I'd cut you. You'd have to earn it back. You'd be suspended or on leave or whatever I could do until I could see that you understood the magnitude of what you just did while you were playing a game and getting a free education for it. So not cool. Congratulations to the Trojans. You had a great season. You stayed competitive. You needed CU to lose last night. That didn't happen. Great second half of the season for USC. I expect them to have a good bowl game and probably win it against whoever they play. Florida State goes out and beats Florida 31-13. Vanderbilt upsets Tennessee. Tennessee, a lot of comeback wins, a lot of hold-on wins this season. This time Vanderbilt gets them 45-34. West Virginia gets over on Iowa State 49-19. Stanford beats up on Rice. Another good game from Christian McCaffrey as the Cardinal rolls 41-17. And Navy, a couple teams go out and put up over 70 points yesterday. Navy's one of them. Navy puts up 75 on SMU as they have 31 points in that game, and Navy wins. But the Pittsburgh-Syracuse score, when I saw that score, I thought it was the basketball teams. 76-61 or 76-67. So I was like, oh, cool, early matchup. No, it was the football teams. The last 4 or 5 matchups between the basketball teams, neither team has scored 76 points. But the football game, you had a 76 point. It was something else to see. What are the biggest matchups coming in next week for college football and the championships? The NFL schedule and headlines after this. Hey guys, the NFL is back. It's time to win some cash playing fantasy football. TheDirtCannon.com is a local company that has your back. They have produced over 60% winners on FanDuel, DraftKings, and now even Yahoo. TheDirtCannon.com will help you build, play, and win. Build a better team with TheDirtCannon.com. Use promo code RDST and get $5 off forever. And try the Silver membership this week for free. Visit TheDirtCannon.com. So this weekend, obviously, with all those games we just talked about, set up a lot of interesting matchups, a lot of interesting scenarios for what's going to happen with the College Football Playoff Committee and how they're going to pick these 4 teams after next week. Now, obviously, it's a huge bonus if you have a championship game. If you're one of those teams that are between 3 and 6, 3 and 7 even, and you have a championship game to try and boost your roster, to try and boost your schedule, boost your record, that's huge. Because now the committee has another taste, and they can go, oh, this happened in a championship game. This wasn't a regular season matchup where we're going, okay, these guys are this good, these guys are this good, they beat them, they're ranked here, but they lost to them. No, this is, okay, they did this in a championship game. One of the big reasons the Big 12, which doesn't have 12 teams, needs to get back to 12 teams so they can actually have a championship game again, because that ultimately it hurts their teams. Unless their teams start playing better non-conference schedules and playing other top programs to where they can go, okay, they beat this Big Ten team, they beat this SEC school, then they're going to be left out without that game a lot of the time if their schools aren't undefeated or something along those lines. We talked about the Louisville's losses and Houston's losses and how that's really going to shake things up as far as teams that have matched up or beat those teams this season or teams that they've beat and how they'll be ranked based on some of these late season losses. Championship games next week. You've got Clemson and Virginia Tech. You've got Wisconsin, Penn State. And these are just going to be the big ones, obviously. Alabama and Florida. That one, you would expect Alabama to roll in that game. But, hey, maybe Florida does what nobody is expecting, and they beat Alabama somehow. Excuse me. And then you got Colorado-Washington in the Pac-12 title game on Friday. So that one we'll actually recap on the DC3PO college football kickoff on Saturday morning with Chris Rupert from thedirtcannon.com. The other ones we'll talk about with him that day before they get going on Saturday and wrap up the college football regular season and championship weeks. It's going to be some good football for sure. There's other matchups out there. The MAC championship. Western Michigan is going against Ohio. That one should be pretty easy for Western Michigan as they sit at 12-0 right now in the season. Kansas State TCU should be a good game. Oklahoma State Oklahoma should be a good game. Baylor West Virginia could be a really good game next week. So, and one more solid week for some of these schools who had byes and the championship games for all the conferences out there. And we'll cover all of that coming up this Saturday. So stay tuned for that for sure. All right, so NFL action. Let's jump into some NFL action here. A lot of things happened already so far. A lot of stories out there already. Thanksgiving Day action was great. If you got a chance to, do what you do on that day, and you also got to watch some football, congratulations. That's a big day for me. It's one of the only days I get to watch my Lions live on TV most of the time. And we pulled out a sweep of the Minnesota Vikings, winning 16-13, and really a game that we should have put away. But for whatever reason, all 11 games this season that we have played have been 7 points or fewer. All 7 of our now first place winning games that we have been by 7 points or fewer. and we've come back in all 7 wins in the fourth quarter to win all 7 games. We talked about this a couple